The night my sister stood up at her son's birthday party and announced that my dead husband was secretly the baby's father, the whole backyard turned to stare at me, waiting for me to break down. Instead, I felt the strangest urge to laugh, because I knew something she did not, something that made her entire performance collapse before it even began. My name is Emily Carter, and at 34, I became a widow when my husband Jonathan Reeves died suddenly from a brain aneurysm, gone before I could even reach the hospital. 11 years of marriage ended in a single morning, and 3 weeks later, while I was still numb with grief, my own sister tried to steal half of everything he left behind. Jonathan and I had built a quiet, devoted life together, surviving years of failed fertility treatments that left us childless but closer than ever. My younger sister Whitney had competed with me since childhood, always needing whatever I had first. 2 years before Jonathan died, she had a son named Owen with a bartender named Derek. I love that baby anyway, showing up for every milestone, never imagining what she was quietly planning behind my back. 1 week after I buried my husband, I forced myself to attend Owen's first birthday party out of obligation. Halfway through, Whitney tapped her glass and announced that Owen was not Derek's son, that he was Jonathan's, the result of a secret affair 2 years earlier. She pulled out a folded paper claiming it was his updated will, leaving half of our $800,000 house to her son. Every guest turned to look at me, waiting for the widow to shatter in public. Instead, I calmly asked to see the will, scanned the clumsy forged signature, thanked her, and walked to my car. Only once I was alone did I let myself laugh and cry at the same time. Because Whitney's story was not just a lie, it was scientifically impossible. 3 years earlier, Jonathan had confided that Whitney kept crossing lines with him, and we quietly distanced ourselves from her. Around that same time, he underwent surgery that required a vasectomy 2 full years before Owen was ever conceived. We told no one, but on our attorney's advice, we documented everything and locked his real will and medical records in a safety deposit box, calling it insurance we hoped never to need. The morning after the party, I opened that box with shaking hands. Inside was Jonathan's real notarized will, medical proof of the vasectomy, a journal of every uncomfortable moment with Whitney, printed messages, and a sealed letter in his handwriting, promising his love would protect me even after he was gone. My attorney confirmed the will she showed was an amateur forgery, and a private investigator uncovered the real motive. Whitney was drowning in over $75,000 of debt, facing eviction, and Derek had abandoned her and Owen months earlier. Messages between her and a friend proved the entire scheme had been planned for weeks, calling me the golden child and my house her nest egg. I invited Whitney over, recorded the conversation with her permission, and let her repeat her fake affair story before asking specific questions only someone truly involved with Jonathan could answer. Her confidence crumbled instantly. I laid the medical records, the real will, and the evidence of her desperation on the table, and she broke down sobbing, admitting she was terrified of losing her home and drowning in Owen's medical bills after his heart surgery as an infant. I told her plainly that what she did was criminal, forgery and fraud, and that one phone call could send her to prison. But for Owen's sake, I offered a different path instead, a trust fund for his care, help finding stable housing, on the strict condition that she confessed publicly, entered therapy, stayed employed, and let me remain in his life. One violation, I told her, and everything would end immediately. At a tense family dinner, Whitney told our stunned parents the truth herself, that there had never been an affair, that Owen was Derek's son, and that she had forged the will out of desperation. When my mother tried to soften the blow with excuses, I finally said what I had held back for years, that their constant enabling of Whitney had helped create this very moment, and that loving family does not mean tolerating manipulation without consequence. A year later, standing in the garden Jonathan planted before he died, I watched his flowers finally bloom while Owen grew into a happy toddler, his heart condition stable thanks to the trust fund quietly supporting him. Whitney had rebuilt her life through real therapy and steady work, our bond now distant but honest. I started a scholarship foundation in Jonathan's name, carrying his legacy forward through students who never even met him, and slowly began opening my heart to life again. Jonathan had protected me even in death, and in choosing boundaries over bitterness, I finally understood that real love and real strength were never opposites at all. They had simply been the same thing wearing different faces all along.